Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you until 2 o'clock. At Frisco, Texas this week, the Big 12 became the first conference this year to hold their annual football media days, and it has now concluded. And we're happy to be joined now on the Higginbotham Hotline. A good friend of the program. You hear him multiple times during the year on this shows. We talk Big 12, talk BYU and Utah football, and that's Jake Hatch. You can also hear him on KSL Sports Zone there in Salt Lake City. Also podcast Locked On Cougars podcast. Jake joins us. And Jake, I understand you're still in Texas, correct?
I am. I'm about to head home today, but it's been a really fun couple of days of Big 12 Media Days. But thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, well, listen, let's start with day one and the big announcement that got all of our attentions before we get into all the Brendan Sorsby and Texas Tech stuff. This announcement by Brett Yormark about the jersey patch that is going to be seen on all the jerseys around the Big 12. Had you heard any grumblings about that before you got to Frisco, and how shocked were you about the announcement?
Yeah, no, I had not, but I always expect with Yormark that at any one of these events, he's always going to have something he's going to announce. So we expected something to be announced, but yeah, did not expect it to be a jersey patch and they call it an entitlement sponsorship or partnership with Monster Energy, but they're trying to find ways to generate revenue. The only concern from, I think, most people's vantage point is maybe they undersold how much they could get out of this partnership.
What was the reaction from the folks who reside in the state where you do, in Utah? What was the reaction from the Ute fans and from the Cougar fans?
Well, I think by and large, most of them were on board with it because as Mark Harlan, Utah's AD, we talked to him at Big 12 Media, says, hey, it's $1 million more than we had yesterday. And that's okay. I acknowledge that's true. It's some extra money coming into your pocket. But the interesting part is that schools like Utah are affiliated with Pepsi, and Monster is a Coke brand. So they've had to have discussions with, and multiple schools in the Big 12 are like this. They have Pepsi brand partnerships, and that obviously could cause a little bit of an uproar. But based on the people that we talked to, they said they had those discussions with Pepsi, and everybody signed off on it because otherwise it wouldn't have been announced. But it is a very interesting dynamic, and I think that overall the fan base is, if you enjoy energy drinks, you're on board with it. If not, you're just like, okay, well, it's extra money, and it's going to be a green logo on your uniform.
Jake, I apologize in advance for not already knowing this, but obviously you cover Utah and BYU. You do a podcast for BYU. In regards to the way the university feels towards those type of drinks, is there any type of limitations at all on an energy drink or caffeinated drink, something of that sort?
So there is not, to be very clear about this, but so church teachings prohibit coffee and tea, though. So there's a running joke with us that are members of the church and the like, but the running joke is you can have your caffeine cold, but you can't have it hot, if you catch my drift on that. And but that's kind of what it is. So there is no prohibition on having an energy drink according to church teachings, no.
Interesting. Okay. Our buddy Jake Hatch joining us. He's been at Big 12 Media Days and a lot coming out there. How contentious was it with members of the media, Big 12 representatives, especially there, Brett Yormark? Could you sense a little more than you have maybe in past years?
Yeah, there was some tension with the Big 12. I guess more Texas Tech affiliated media. There was one individual that Brett Yormark has made the rounds on social media where he was asked the question, then he makes a beeline across the stage. Hey, I want you to stand up. I want you to ask that question again. I want to give you the answer. And that was probably the most tense moment of the entire thing. And I was sitting on the opposite side from where it was occurring, but it was just very interesting. The Texas Tech media seemed pretty up in arms about the whole Brendan Sorsby situation, the way the Big 12 treated them. I thought, though, that the Texas Tech brass, so Joey McGuire, et cetera, they handled the questions very well. And if you read the report from Ross Dellinger from Yahoo Sports, they reportedly had a meeting here in Fort Worth where they had a steak dinner and buried the hatchet on it. So I think it may be more of a media blow up in terms of the media being upset, whereas I think Texas Tech brass has probably made peace with it.
I am interested. They're in Salt Lake. You're on the air every day. And when the Brendan Sorsby story was at the height and you had everybody, it was the battle lines being drawn in which there were people very outspoken in the Big 12 that this does not need to happen. Like he does not need to play because of the integrity of the game. What was the outcry? Was it much from the BYU and the Utah camps out in your neck of the woods in regards to Sorsby even having the opportunity to potentially play?
Yeah, you're right. I think you nailed it. It was just like this guy doesn't need to play football. If he admitted to betting on games that he was a member of a team of, we've done this in every other sport. There's like one red line with sports gambling. You do not bet on your own team, even if you didn't play. Whatever, you just do not do that. And that was the consensus. It felt like across the Beehive State was that this kid doesn't need to play football. He can enter the NFL supplemental draft, and obviously that's obviously going to make him wait as a result of the NFL passing on that opportunity. But there was a consensus that there's no reason why this young man has to play football. And if you read the reports out there, it was essentially 15-1. The other 15 member schools of the Big 12 ganged up on Texas Tech and said, guys, we cannot do this. And Texas Tech ultimately backed down. Brendan Sorsby decided to withdraw from school and decided to prepare for the professional football. But yeah, it was a very hot button issue. And I think the consensus was, there's no reason this kid, I guess, has to play, and he can go ahead and sit out.
Jake, we get it every single year at SEC Media Days. There's that team, maybe not the top tier team, but there's that next team that really catches some steam and gets a lot of buzz and has a lot of momentum coming out of those media days. Who was that team for you this week?
I thought it was Oklahoma State. Now, Oklahoma State's been a trendy pick with Eric Morris taking over and bringing guys like Drew Mestemaker and Caleb Hawkins, the running back he brought over from North Texas with him. Morris has worked in and around the Big 12. He played in the Big 12, so he's very familiar with the lay of the land, as it were, in the Big 12 conference. And if the guys he's brought with him from North Texas, who were very, very good last year, are as good as they're cracked up to be, I think Oklahoma State could be a force. I was really impressed with the way that Coach Morris and the players that represented Oklahoma State presented themselves. So, I do think that even though they were already kind of a trendy pick, I thought Oklahoma State did pick up some steam just based on the way that they talked to the media and the kind of the projection of where they think they can go this year.
All right, let's talk about the team that you cover and you do a podcast for, and that's BYU. LJ Martin, he was named as the Offensive Player of the Year, and according to the folks that do the preseason list of players, BYU had a ton of players on the Big 12 preseason list. So let me ask you about this BYU team. A lot of folks are looking for that next team. Everyone thought it was going to be BYU and Texas Tech. Still might be for the championship game. Texas Tech quarterback situation is a question mark. But tell us about this BYU team and just the confidence level that these guys will be back in the Big 12 title game.
Well, the confidence level is high because BYU did not lose a single member of their two deeps that left via the transfer portal. Some guys obviously graduated and went to the NFL, but nobody left from the program via the transfer portal that were considered to be key contributors. And that's a big reason why, I think BYU and Texas Tech appear to be the favorites in the Big 12. You mentioned LJ Martin, reigning Offensive Player of the Year in the Big 12, preseason Offensive Player of the Year, and he has a shot, if he kind of replicates what he did last year, of leading BYU as their all-time leading rusher, which would be a cool feather in his cap, it feels like, to finish off his career that way. And then, obviously, the freshman sensation that was Bear Bachmeier last year. A lot of people expect that he will go from being a true freshman last year to being a sophomore this year and take a big leap. And if that's the case, he was very, very good last year. He's lost to exactly one team as a starting quarterback, and that is the Texas Tech Red Raiders. But I think that they've got a loaded defense. There are some question marks at wide receiver with most of their contributors there having graduated. But if they find some reliable pass catchers, BYU is going to be right there in the mix once again for the Big 12 crown. And Kalani Sitake said it himself. He said that we have to get over the hump, and getting over the hump in the Big 12 is beating Texas Tech because they were unable to do it last year, and it wasn't particularly close in either game.
Jake, I'm curious, with the NIL at an institution like BYU, how much has it changed the way that Kalani Sitake recruits, and how much has it changed maybe some of those prospects and being more open to going to a place like BYU?
It's opened the door quite a bit, actually. Now, BYU will always have their honor code, the stringent, like there's no sex, no alcohol, none of that stuff, and that obviously turns some guys off. But all three of you guys, and I know that money talks. So if you can go out and tell a kid, hey, we're playing high-level football here. We've had back-to-back double-digit win seasons. We played in the Big 12 title game last year. We're knocking on the door of the college football playoff. Those are all enticing things, but ultimately NIL, And BYU's boosters have stepped up to the plate. I would say that BYU, if they're not the second highest funded program outside of Texas Tech in the Big 12, they're no worse than third. They have had a lot of high level boosters who have got deep pockets, who have stepped to the forefront and are willing to give money to the program. And that's a huge reason why Kalani Sitake passed on the opportunity to go to Penn State, because he got the promises from BYU's administration and these boosters that they were going to boost his pay, but also took care of his assistant coaches and gave him, if the reports from On3 are true, somewhere between an extra $10 to $15 million in NIL funds to go out there and recruit with. So yeah, it's absolutely revolutionized how BYU recruits.
I have to ask you about Utah because Kyle Winningham, as someone that we've interviewed multiple times on this show, utmost respect for Kyle and what he did there in Salt Lake City. Now a new regime comes in. What's the prognosis for this Utah team for 2026?
So there's going to be a lot of continuity because Morgan Scalley has been there almost the entirety of Kyle Whittingham's tenure. And he was the head coach in waiting. He was handling a lot of the stuff that Kyle Whittingham didn't want to handle in the final stanza of his time at Utah. So he's ready to step right in, I think, and be a very, very capable head coach in leading Utah. The question I have for Utah this year is, I didn't realize this until one of my buddies who covers the Utes pointed this out. They're replacing the entirety of both their offensive and defensive lines. All 9 spots are going to be brand new starters this year. And this is a program that under Kyle Whittingham prided itself on being maybe, if not the most physical, one of the most physical teams in all of college football. They were going to beat you up, and they were going to do it in the trenches. That turnover has me questioning just a little bit about what the ceiling for Utah is. Now, if they have the right guys, they've recruited the right guys, and they step in and they're just fine, they're going to be great, because I think Devin Dampier is a very capable quarterback. They've got, I think, a very solid running back contingent. That's talking about their offense. But if you can't hold up in the trenches, you guys know this being down there in SEC country, you're going to be hard pressed to win at a high level. So that is my major question mark. Is I think they've got a great coach. I think a lot of good skill players, but is their trench play up to snuff? That will determine how far they can go.
A lot of those are characteristics about the next team that I'm going to ask you about, because I did not realize they had added a local product at running back in Mekhi Hughes. Talking about Willie Fritz and the Houston Cougars, they were pretty good last year. Another year, you look at some of the added weapons that they have. What is your expectation there in Houston?
I think Houston's the number 3 team in the Big 12 in my personal power rankings. I think I would go Texas Tech, BYU, Houston. I think Willie Fritz, he's a winner. He's won at every stop he's coached at. He's got Connor Wigman back. He's got Keyshawn Henderson right sitting there in the wings. He's got 2 5-star quarterbacks. But you're right. They've got to obviously hold up in the trenches. But I talked with a couple of their linemen that were at Big 12 Media Days, and they were very open about the fact that, okay, yeah, we've got to be able to hold up in the trenches. But they look bigger, like in terms of the guys I've met and talked to. And if they are as good as advertised, yeah, they won 10 games a year ago. So there's no reason to discount what Houston's capable of, because I really do think that the Cougars, speaking of BYU and Houston, the 2 Cougars in the Big 12 could be kind of that upper tier, I guess the top tier of the Big 12. And I don't discount anything with Willie Fritz at the helm of a program.
Jake, I got to ask you about Deion Sanders. I saw the clip in which he kind of took a shot at The Athletic when David Ubben asked him a question about the video games and why Deion was not in the video games as a coach. What is the buzz? Because needless to say, when he got to Boulder the first couple of years, everyone wanted to talk about Colorado. They wanted to talk about Deion, but now it seems it's subsided. What's the general feeling about where this is going for Colorado? Because they lost a lot of guys in the transfer portal.
Simply put, they got to win. And so you'll laugh about this. I was walking back to my hotel. I'm actually staying about a block away from the Star where they held Big 12 Media Days. I was walking down the street, and a guy saw me. I had my Big 12 credential on. He stopped me. He's like, "Hey, question for you. What's Coach Prime going to do with Colorado this year?" And I'm going to give you the answer I gave him. I said they got to win, and I think that Julian Lewis is a very good quarterback, but their biggest issue is, much like we talked about with other teams, you got to be able to protect a guy like Julian Lewis. And they lost a guy like Jordan Seaton, who is a 5-star, everything offensive lineman. I'm concerned that Coach Prime doesn't have just the right dudes across the board to win at a high level, because they won 3 games a year ago, and they've got to up that, probably get to bowl eligibility at minimum, I think, to get things back on track in a way. But yeah, the sheen, the whole like glitz and glamour of Coach Prime and then the Buffs, it's really worn off. And the only way to get that back is to win. I just question if they have enough dudes to do it.
He is Jake Hatch. You can find him there at KSL, the Sports Zone, also the Locked On Cougars podcast, and all things we need to know Utah here in the great state of Alabama. Jake is our source. Jake, we appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me as always, guys. Have a good day.
You as well. Jake Hatch, once again, joining us, as all of our guests do on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Need a roof that you can count on? Then you need to call Abide Roofing today, 205-577-7338. That is the number. Whether your roof has been damaged by a recent storm, it's showing signs of age, or you simply want the peace of mind that comes with a quality roof over your head, the team at Abide Roofing, they're there to help you. I trusted Abide Roofing when I needed a brand new roof, and you should too. Quality workmanship. The roofs are built to last. It is what you can expect from Abide Roofing. From your first call to the final inspection, Abide Roofing always puts you first. You need to call them today, 205-577-7338. That's 205-577-7338, or visit their website, abideroof.com.
Conrad has seen something horrible yet disturbingly entertaining. The worst thing that Conrad has seen is next. $119, three-man front here on a Thursday. We got Major League Baseball going on right now. Atlanta Braves. We got a lot of Braves fans that are out there. 6-4 as they lead Pittsburgh, playing in the 5th inning. It was Matt Olson that got things started, but don't hold your breath. It's still the top of the 5th inning, and apparently everybody brought their bats today. So,
hey, we do have some good news, though. For the first time in 21 games, the Yankees have scored more than 5 runs.
they sure did. They're up 6-2 as they play in the bottom of the 3rd over to Tampa.
Feels good. This feels good. Feels right.
What if Tampa comes back and you end up in a 12-11 loss?
Don't want to talk about that, but right now it feels good.
All right. Yankees fan who also doesn't want to talk about it. Our friend Mike Newton. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We're doing well. How are you?
Great. By the way, it's now 6-3, Conrad.
Good job, Conrad.
Thanks for saying that, Landrum. You jinxed us.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think it was me. I was not going to bring up the score.
Yeah, we were talking earlier on hold, and I mentioned when y'all went to breaking news about 20 minutes ago, I thought it was the fact that y'all were going to say the Yankees actually scored a run.
No.
And, okay. But, yeah, I think here lately, ever since the World Cup started, the Yankees think it only takes 1 or 2 to win a game, you know? And it's been bad, and today's a bullpen game, so I think we're going to need 15 runs to get this one out. So we'll see.
Hey, I'm
We'll
glad
see.
you called because we talked about it a little bit earlier. And for those that might have missed when I brought it up, the Smithsonian gave Rickwood Field an awesome distinction. If you would kind of enlighten our audience for those that did not hear me talk about it earlier.
Yes, and to be quite honest with you, Pat, it was news to us as well. We didn't get any kind of a heads up. But
That's wild. Wow.
We're very, very proud, obviously, of this. Everyone knows the Smithsonian is the historical archives of our great nation, and they have labeled Rickwood as being one of 5 or 6 places here in Alabama and one of 250 across the nation of a historic site, and that carries the value of, that had significance in the history of our country. And we're just, I'm sure we're going to get some kind of plaque or something from that at least. But yeah, it's so true. As you all know, I mean, Rickwood is a national archive. I had a couple come by to tour the place earlier in the week, and they were from Rochester. They were in town watching their grandson play a travel ball game at Rickwood. And the lady just started breaking down crying when we were giving the tour. And I was like, "Are you okay?" And she says, "Yeah, I finally made it to the real Field of Dreams. This is a place where dreams do and have come true, with Willie Mays and so many others." And that right there just defines the significance of what Rickwood Field, our historic past, and even, we're keeping the Grand Lady alive and open, and with all sorts of activities. We've been very busy this summer, and it is quite the honor, though.
Yeah, it is something because we heard the story. I can't remember if it was Gerald or if it was you, Mike, telling the story about Drake Baldwin coming in the offseason, and he was with some other ball players, and they just wanted to tour the park. They wanted to see what it was about.
Yeah, I showed them around. Desmond Jennings, who y'all are probably familiar with, who played with Tampa Bay and out at Pinson Valley. Desmond was in town, and he called me and asked if he could bring some players by. I didn't know who they were. I knew they were in the minor leagues or on the verge of getting in the big leagues. And after I gave the tour, Desmond said, he pointed at Drake, and he says, Drake may win the Rookie of the Year. And I went, what? and he did he not? And I know Drake got off to a great start this year. I know he's struggled here recently, but that catching position is tough, and it's to keep that consistency throughout the year. But I will say, after the season's over, I'm going to try to have Drake come out, and Pat, we may try to get Tyler to come out as well.
Tyler would be great. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, Tyler Tolbert, who tied a Major League Baseball record early this week. Tyler played at Hewitt-Trussville, also played at UAB, been with the Royals, went 12 for 12 this week.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very
and,
cool.
and as you know, Pat, he's just a terrific young man.
Oh, comes from a great family. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm glad. So this we've been hosting travel ball, national travel ball, that is, and we've had all these teams from across America to come to Rickwood Field over these past 3 weeks, and some other Birmingham sites are hosting part of this big tournament. And Saturday we start with the 17 and under group, which we'll have a number of guys that have committed to D1 programs that'll be there throwing in the low 90s. You know, we remember, you know, Jose Contreras, his son Joseph was here one year. Joseph is the one that pitched for Brazil back in the World Baseball. Yeah. And then Landon Tomey, Jim Tomey's son, was here a couple of years ago. I got to know his mom, Andrea, while they were here and everything. They were just wonderful. And now Landon's not as big as Jim. However, you know, tomorrow is the baseball draft. I think Landon and Joseph will probably be drafted in the first 50 picks of the draft tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, Joseph's committed to Vanderbilt and Landon's committed to Florida State, but I don't know that they'll see college baseball. We'll see.
Oh, that is good stuff. Well, Mike, always great to hear from you. Please give Gerald and Joe and everyone at the Friends of Rickwood our best. It's been too long. Hope to see you soon.
Will do, yeah. Come out to the ballpark Saturday. We got a card show and travel baseball. Come out and see us. Free admission.
That is a winning combination. Thanks a lot, Mike. Good to talk to you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you so
guys.
much.
Bye.
That is Mike Newton from the Friends of Rickwood. As activities continue, big travel ball this weekend, that card show, always a popular event there at Rickwood.
Yeah, pleasant surprise with Mike Newton, our friend, dropping by. As promised, Conrad sees good and he sees bad. The worst thing that Conrad has seen.
This is the worst thing I've seen.
Been in quarantine and like I need to get out and party. Woo! What's better than beach and a few drinks and Jeeps? Man, it can't get better than that. Law enforcement's definitely made their visitability and made people chill out and not be as crazy.
The cops are doing their job as long as they don't be mean to people who are actually being innocent. Then I'm all gravy, baby.
Well, I don't know what it says about me, but I had a number of people send me this story this morning to make sure that I saw it, knowing that this is a popular segment we do on the show, and that, you know, once I share the story
Someone
with
was
you.
excited, and they sent it to me yesterday.
Well, that's great. I'm glad to know that that's what people think of us, Landrum. But this is certainly one for the books on the worst thing that I've seen. So we're going to go to Fort Wayne, Indiana for this story. Typically, that's not somewhere where we go for the worst thing that I've seen. It's normally Florida. But today it's Fort Wayne, Indiana, just being honest, where you have a 36-year-old man by the name of Christopher Peden.
Pat. Oh, Pat.
Thank you, Pat. Mr. Peden is now
Mr. Who?
Mr. Peden is facing a felony charge after he allegedly cut off his Peden and used it to commit arson.
Wait, he cut off what?
His what?
His Peden.
His phalange. What?
Yeah, kind of a phalange. His member.
His unit.
His unit. Yes, his package. Christopher Peden.
Okay. Wait.
Wait. No.
The whole thing? Like the
whole package?
No, just the shaft part.
Oh, my.
Just that part.
Okay.
But allegedly, he cut it off, doused it in gasoline, and then used it to set a fire in a neighbor's garage. So the Fort Wayne Fire Department was dispatched to a garage fire. This happened back in May.
Red Hots, get your Red Hots.
This happened back in May, and the report's just now coming out earlier today or late yesterday evening. But the Fort Wayne Fire Department was dispatched to a garage fire just as the Fort Wayne Police Department was dispatched to reports of a stabbing, according to court records. Upon arriving to the scene, both the fire department and police department ended up at the same location, where Christopher Peden told police that he was stabbed somewhere downtown after being threatened by an individual the day before. After being taken to the hospital to attend to his alleged stab wounds, he eventually admitted to an officer that he was dishonest about being stabbed. And after being honest with the officials, he said that around 2 a.m. the night before, he went into his garage, used a kitchen knife to cut off his genitals, at which point he then poured gasoline on his dismembered organ, setting it on fire and leaving it in the garage and walking away until calling police. At the scene of the fire department located a gasoline canister and 4 lighters, as well as the nearby kitchen knife that was used in the incident. According to court records, his pedon has not been located after being lit on fire.
How much blood is he losing in this process?
I would imagine.
Could he not just like
of
wad up some things of newspaper and set
some
fire to
kindling?
it? Yeah.
Get a little kindling?
Why did he feel the need to use
Not
his
saying.
thing?
Well, he wanted to roast some weenies in the garage.
You imagine they're getting with the fire inspector. How do you think this fire started? Well,
I feel confident that this is something they've not seen before.
it appears to me that the thing that he's missing is what started our fire.
Yes, that appears to be the case. So Mr. Pedon is due back in court next week as they will set a date for his trial. He currently is facing up to a 12-year prison sentence for one count of arson.
That's tough.
Well, then you got to go to jail, and only part of you's going to jail.
Something tells me that he needs to be under the care of doctors, not just for this incident, but maybe long term.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's operating with all his faculties.
That's
he's certainly not now.
No, no, he is not. But yeah, Mr. Pedon there in Fort Wayne, Indiana, had himself a day back in May, and now we are here. So that was certainly one of the more bizarre stories that I've had passed my way, and I'm glad that we could share it on the worst
Wake
thing
up
I've
in the
seen.
infirmary there at the jail. Like, what did I do?
Well, just imagine you're in jail and it's like, what'd you do to get in here?
Oh,
Kind of a long story.
this guy's crazy. Stay away from him.
No kidding.
Seriously.
No.
This guy's crazy.
No kidding. No kidding. Well, just imagine the first time you got to go to the bathroom in there. It's, that's interesting. So, yeah, that is certainly the worst thing that I've seen.
That's the worst thing I've heard.
Yeah, it's bad. That's real bad.
Well, thank you, Conrad, I think. You're welcome to all of our great listeners.
Yes.
Pat's got
Happy
questions.
Thursday.
No idea what they will involve. We'll try to answer them. Pat Ponders on the way next. 136, a song that Pat Smith knows by heart. He can sing every word, which is very impressive. Speaking of Pat, he comes up with questions for us every day. He writes them down. He brings them in, and we try to answer them. We have no idea what the questions are going to be before they're asked. That being said, this is Pat Ponders.
I want to know what you're thinking. Tell me what's on your mind.
It's time for Pat Ponders.
All right, question number 1. If your favorite team had to choose between a superstar quarterback for one season or an elite defense for the next 3 seasons, which would you take? Turn your mic on. There you go.
I wasn't even trying to talk. I'm trying to think.
Elite quarterback for 1 year.
Yep.
Elite defense for 3 years.
I'll take elite defense for 3 years. And win a championship with a less than elite quarterback.
Yeah, so given the fact we're in the Big Ten, I would take the elite defense.
Well, fortunately, we have both this year,
Oh,
so
my.
we're not going to have to worry about that.
Are you a Miami fan?
He
No.
loves Mensa.
He
Thinks
does.
Mensa's going to be
He
incredible.
really does.
Ah, man, it's tough. In college, I still think you go elite defense. In the NFL, I'd lean more towards a superstar quarterback for 1 year because we've seen like Joe Burrow and the Bengals and some teams like that be able to make it work. But yeah, in college, I'd go 3 years of elite defense.
Okay.
It does still win
Yeah,
championships.
defense wins titles.
Hello, Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, no doubt. No kidding.
Question number 2. You have the ultimate college football power. You can eliminate 3 FBS teams forever. Wipe them off the map.
Oh.
Are you choosing based on performance, fan base, rivalries, geography, or just a team you can't stand? Who are your 3 that you're erasing from college football?
I'm going the petty route for sure.
Of course he is.
3 teams. You erase. They're done.
Michigan. Rutgers. And you can thank me later, Rutgers.
Yeah, you're just trying to help the student body.
Right. Ooh.
I've got 2. Third one's hard to come up with.
All right, who's your 2 as he's thinking about his 3rd?
Texas A&M and Ohio State. Hate them. Can't stand them.
All right, that's quickly. There's your 2. Need one more from you and Landrum. What's your 3, Molly?
See, I'm thinking more so teams that have never really done anything because I don't want to erase history.
Oh, Notre Dame.
Oh, okay. So
Ooh.
your 3 are Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Notre Dame. You
Yep.
want done.
Yep.
Like,
Bye-bye.
not even playing football ever again.
Don't need to hear from you.
Okay.
Bye.
See, I'm thinking like Rutgers, even though they're in the Big Ten. I'm thinking like a Rutgers, a Wake Forest, and then kind of like the more like random teams that we don't really find ourselves watching as much. You know what I mean?
Who's your 3rd?
I don't know. I'm thinking.
All right, need a 3rd from Landrum. Poor Rutgers. Molly and Landrum picks on Rutgers.
They can play in my league. That's fine.
How much are they in debt?
Almost $500 million.
Oh. Mm.
So Molly went Wake Forest and Rutgers. You went Rutgers, and who was the other one?
I went Rutgers, Michigan.
Oh, that's right. Trying to ruin Connor Stallion's life.
Yeah. I think UCLA. They just keep coming back to me.
Okay. So no Southern teams
Because
for
that would,
Landrum.
that would be one less complaint we would hear on the week that everybody's got to travel there or they have to travel somewhere.
You know, I'd go Indiana.
About the cost.
You go Indiana?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I like it.
If
They get to
now-
go out on top. They have their
Hey,
fun.
yeah.
And yeah, now we can stop acting like, yeah.
And I love the fact that she picked 2 Big Ten teams, but she didn't pick Iowa, which was odd. Maybe that was because of her brother.
But then you would lose the satisfaction of when you beat them, like how good it feels.
The one time.
Yeah.
I think she did because of her brother. She didn't want to upset her
I do
brother.
love my brother.
That's true.
Yeah, he's great. Even though he went to Iowa.
So you're the only one that picked a Southern school.
Mm-hmm. I thought about Oklahoma, but they're fine now.
See, I was more so thinking the schools I watch the most, that I enjoy watching, and I like watching SEC football. You know what I mean? But I also didn't go to an SEC school, so I might view it a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say UTEP too, but
I mean, would anyone really notice?
You want my 3?
I just don't like the idea of being that close to the border. Go ahead.
My 3?
Yep.
Rice.
Yeah.
Rice has no business having a football program.
Some play baseball.
Well, they barely have a surface that is playable. Thank God they're replacing.
And the other 2 is very easy. You should know this. Think about it. I'm going to give you one guess.
Oh, New Mexico and New Mexico State.
See?
See, I was thinking
Because you don't ever have to get confused again.
Correct.
Yeah.
Those are good.
That's good.
I'm glad you know me.
I do know you.
You know me.
I know you.
Yes, you do. Good call.
What number am I thinking?
3.
You're so good.
See? Del Murphy. See?
So good.
Or Simpatico. Woo. Yeah, we know. Mm-hmm. He called me after I burnt my hand on the stove last night, and he said, "Are you okay?"
Because my hand was burning.
His hand was burning. I said,
Wow.
"Oh my gosh!"
Look,
yes.
you can see. Look at his 2 middle fingers.
I know.
Then he's like, put the kitchen knife down, Pat. Put the knife down. Get out of the garage. Put the gasoline down.
I had kindling. I didn't have to worry about that. All right, next question. Which current SEC coach not named Kirby Smart would you trust the most to build a championship roster if they had to start over tomorrow?
Mike Elko.
Yeah, that's
Mike Elko. You can hate Texas A&M, but you got to respect the job that man has done at multiple stops.
Yeah, that was the first name that popped in my
Yeah.
head too. Yeah, and see that's the thing. Like that's what I hate the most about Mike Elko is he makes me not hate Texas A&M as much, even though I just said I'd ban.
But you just voted to get rid of them.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like Mike Elko has made it I hate them 1% less than I did 2 years ago, and that's a big deal for me. Besides Mike Elko, though,
And it makes you ask the question, is Texas A&M holding Mike Elko back?
maybe so.
Could he win a championship easier somewhere else?
I'd maybe go Sark if I couldn't pick Elko. If he's taken off the board. Another Texas school.
I mean, besides, I would still go Kalen DeBoer just because he's actually done that at Washington and took them to a national championship. Maybe that's a homer pick.
How's that
but
working
he
out,
actually
him
did that.
building Alabama?
He didn't build it from scratch, Pat. We are holding him back. He came into a bad spot. The guy we had before him just really ruined the program.
Yeah, he left the cupboard bare. He had nothing.
Yeah, Kalen DeBoer had nothing when he came here. So if he started from scratch, we'd be way better off.
All right.
That's what I tell myself when I can't sleep at night.
All right, final question today comes courtesy of BB. She writes, more and more people cannot watch anything without subtitles. This is not a reference to foreign films. It's using subtitles on everything they watch. Psychologists call this intolerance of uncertainty. But there's a real boring reason a lot of people truly can't hear the dialogue. TV speakers have gotten thinner. Movies got mixed for theaters, not television, and viewers have issues making out the dialogue. Where are you on subtitles? Do you use them all the time, most of the time, on certain things, or not at all?
Just on certain things. Subtitles used to distract me a lot more than they do now. But just on some things. My wife wanted it the other night when we were watching something, and it was a bunch of British folks. And some of them, it was hard to make out.
The brogue was just too much to
it's a
make
little
out.
too much.
Yeah, outside of so not for sporting events, definitely not using subtitles. But anything else, TV show, movie, 100% of the time. Because you
wait,
miss
100% of the time?
Yes, I always have
Wow.
subtitles on. Yeah, because you miss things otherwise.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always use
And
subtitles.
it doesn't matter the movie.
Nope. Even if I've seen it 20 times, because you're always like, oh, I missed that one line of dialogue. Yeah.
See, I'll turn them on for movies sometimes. Like, for example, when I had to watch Inception and Interstellar, At first, I didn't have them on when I had to watch Inception, but some of the dialogue was so quiet, and I would crank up because my TV's a little older. I'd crank up the volume, and then a song would start blasting through the TV speakers, and I'd have to turn it back down.
Was
So I would turn on the subtitles so I could keep it a little lower and still kind of read, what was going on.
Well, part of my radio, television, film major, I had to break down. I think it was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and I had to watch that. And obviously, wasn't too keen on it. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
That's when I first feel like we started getting duped by the Academy.
Yeah.
It was like, wait a minute. Is this a good film or is this one that you've interpreted and how it would be interpreted? Yeah.
Is that Bruce Lee?
No.
No?
No.
I've heard of that movie before. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I've never
but
seen it.
Obviously.
That is today's Pat Ponders. Appreciate BB always providing us an interesting question to wrap things up.
Yes, from Pat Ponders to something we pray you never ponder. The worst thing that Conrad has seen, part 2, comes your way next. 151, three-man front. The Braves and the Pirates play has been delayed because of rain there in Pittsburgh. The Braves leading 6-4. They resume play in the top of the sixth inning. So we got that. We've had a busy show. A lot of your interaction on the text line. We appreciate it. A lot of funny texts. The story that Conrad gave us with the first worst thing I've seen. Somebody saying it gives burnt ends a whole new meaning. Yeah, if you want to go back and find that, you can go to jocksfm.com and the Three-Man Front podcast. But we have part 2. We have another story, Pat, that Conrad has seen.
Oh, boy.
And it's very unfortunate, but here we go. The worst thing that Conrad's seen.
This is the worst thing I've seen.
Been in quarantine, and I need to get out and party. Woo! What's better than beach and a few drinks and Jeeps? Man, it can't get better than that. Law enforcement's definitely made their visitability and made people chill out and not be as crazy.
The cops are doing their job as long as they don't be mean to people who are actually being innocent. Then I'm all gravy, baby.
Well, like Landrum said, unfortunately, this story is not as comical, I guess you would say, as the first one that we shared. But it is a very shocking story, very sad story coming out of Argentina from over the weekend. So you had a flight instructor by the name of Leandro Bertazzo. He's 42 years old, who unfortunately was found dead following an incident in Toledo, Argentina over the weekend. So the pilot, the flight instructor, Mr. Bertazzo, he was on board a Cessna 150 aircraft on a flying lesson with a 22-year-old student by the name of Rosario. And according to a report from the student that was in the plane with her flight instructor, while they were up in the air, Mr. Bertazzo made the tragic decision in the middle of the flight to hand over the controls to his student, Miss Rosario, and then proceed to jump out of the airplane and fall to his death while traveling at a speed of 124 miles per hour. So a very sad, very shocking story coming out of the situation there. Thankfully, the flight student, she was able to get in contact with air traffic control, report the incident to the authorities, and they were able to calmly walk her through the necessary procedures to land the plane safely, which she was able to do. They commended her for her maturity, her bravery, and her ability to stay calm and what is clearly a very shocking situation there. So she was able to land the plane safely. She is okay outside of being shaken up by the incident that happened there. But yeah, a very unfortunate loss of life there in the case of Leandro Bertazzo, a 42-year-old flight instructor in Argentina. After the incident took place, it did come out from his family members that he had lately been suffering from mental health problems and had actually admitted himself recently to a psychiatric hospital, but then after being released, returned to his duties as a flight instructor. Nobody there at the flight school was aware of this. Otherwise, I have to assume they probably would not have allowed him to be going up in airplanes with students. But yeah, a very shocking incident as you had an Argentinian flight instructor that decided to fall to his death midair and leave his student at the controls.
And it is heartbreaking and it's disturbing and it's sad that he was dealing with this, talking about the deceased, but how incredibly selfish, not only what you're leaving your family with, but to put a 22-year-old student.
Yeah, at risk. What if the plane
learning
crashed?
how to fly and turning it over. Sad all the way around. Bizarre, but thank God she was able to answer the plane.
Absolutely.
Or land the plane, right? Answer prayer. All right, that's going to do it for us. Any portion of the show, as always, you can find it there at jocksfm.com, the Three-Man Front podcast. Got the Coach Wimp Sanderson presented by Craneworks coming up tomorrow. Barrett Sallee previewing that huge series, Braves and Cardinals. Plenty of college football talk as always and a whole lot of fun. Thanks for joining us. God is great.